The movie Moneyball tells the story of Billy Beane, the general manager of the Oakland A's, and his struggle to select a team with a limited budget. The first scene is Scouting Team Argues Part 1. The systems theory, concept, and taxonomy document states that closed systems, such as with the Oakland A's scouting team, have limited external interaction, resist change, and have communication problems. They cling to old norms in an attempt to maintain homeostasis to preserve group stability. The document states that entropy is a gradual decline of a system into disorder when no new information is introduced. Here, the A's are losing their best players, described in the document as inputs, or information and resources entering the system. They're trying to use the same old scouting methods and are falling apart. 10 seconds into the scene, Maddie, Barry, and the others give their input on Geronimo, stating that he's clean-cut, good-faced. They're focused on human or relational input, described in the document as characteristics and attitudes. At 2 minutes 25 seconds, Billy focuses on material input by shifting the focus to the financial aspects rather than individual players. Throughputs are transformative processes that convert inputs into outputs. Communication throughput is defined as the process of meaning-making, sense-making, or framing, such as when they see replacing the players as a personal task. Billy attempts to reframe the throughput as a decision or evaluation, which includes problem-solving. The group is first focused on the task output, described as progress or task completion. At 3 minutes 12 seconds, Grady states, "The problem is we have to replace 3 key players." Billy continues to challenge this way of thinking. And we see a relational change in the output, find as shifts in trust or cohesion. Billy no longer trusts the teams to make the right choice. In scene 2, Billy Beane meets Peter Brand, Part 1. In this scene, Cleveland is acting as a closed system. Their scouts protect their interests and are hesitant to let Billy in. Billy's acting as an open system, described in the document as a system that interacts with the environment, continuously exchanging information and adapting. The document describes boundaries as limits that define the system, separating it from external elements while controlling the flow of information. Here, Mark Shapiro leads the meeting, controlling the information that's relayed. There's a clear social boundary of who's allowed to speak, such as the 2-minute mark when Peter Brand's input travels through multiple people before reaching Billy. The same document states that informational input includes data and feedback. Billy knows exactly what player he wants. At 45 seconds, Shapiro comments, "Even if you could afford him," indicating that he is aware of the financial disparity between the teams. The document refers to this as structural or material inputs, which includes financial resources. At 1 minute 48 seconds, Billy uses communication throughput and attempts to reframe his offer as a win for Cleveland. He realizes the meaning-making in the room is being controlled by someone else, Peter. The task output is the end of the negotiations at 2 minute 42 seconds when Shapiro says, "This is the way we do business in Cleveland." According to the document, hierarchy is the formal or informal arrangement of systems or subsystems in a structured order. During this scene, Billy identifies the subsystem that's controlling the output, the throughput, and thus the output. He doesn't know the details, but he recognizes that while Shapiro may be in control, Peter has great influence on what occurs within the team. Scene 3 is Billy Beane meets Peter Brand, Part 2. The systems theory document states that self-organization is the ability of a system to create order and organization from internal interactions without external control. 2 minutes, Peter and Billy's conversation leads to them creating their own organization without the control from their owners. By taking Peter to the parking garage, Billy is intentionally crossing boundaries and removing Peter from the closed system of the Indians, allowing him to give informational input at 2 minutes and 40 seconds. The garage acts as a neutral ground where the rules of the office hierarchy don't apply. The document states that equifinality is the idea that different paths can lead to the same outcome. At 2 minutes, 28 seconds, Peter explains that you don't need one superstar player. You can achieve the same goal by focusing on buying runs with multiple players. The throughput represents a transformative process in the scene. The conversation in the office and the walk to the garage serve as a meaning-making process where a new alliance is formed. Here, Billy asks Peter to explain his evaluation process, which is the core throughput that Billy wants to implement in Oakland. At 2 minutes, 33 seconds, he reframes the team's core objectives from buying players to buyer runs. Several outputs emerge from this scene. The conversation is the start of a relationship change, a shift in trust and cohesion as described in the document. Billy and Peter form their own system that will change baseball. Adaptation also occurs as Peter clues Billy in on a new way of seeing things, and Billy realizes that change is coming. In the last scene, Scouting Team Argues Part 2, Peter joins the A's in a closed system. The team begins experiencing entropy. At 42 seconds, Billy's idea creates chaos and disorder in the group as they struggle to maintain homeostasis and do business as usual. The 50-second mark, Billy explains the idea of on-base percentages and informational input. The document states that human or relational input includes things such as prior history and attitudes, and this is what the scouts focus on at 1 minute and 40 seconds with the players' off-field behavior. Billy uses communication input to reframe the group's goals, forcing them to interpret the meeting through stats rather than stories. And outputs are not welcomed by everyone. Billy identifies the replacement players as task completion, but the relationship and structure change, and the organizational design is now altered now that the scouts don't get an opinion.